In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
I had some leftover pizza, and I decided to have that for dinner last night. And so my dog, of course, comes following because, he gets pizza crust, right? That's what happens when you have a dog. It's like the pizza crust tax, like the cheese tax, right? So I warmed it up in the air fryer and was eating it and gave him the crust. And then he was like still looking at me like I had secretly had more food somewhere. And I had to do like I was a poker dealer, showing him that I cleared my hands. Like, I have nothing. And I stood up and I moved the blanket. I was like, there's no more food here. But he kept looking over like, there's more food, right?
Had fun with food too at our house and the dog. So my sister-in-law and niece came over and, we ended up hanging out for a while. And then my wife said, I'll order some chicken. So she ordered some chicken. And then my niece accidentally dropped her plate. A piece of chicken just bloop, bloop, bloop on the floor. And I have never seen my dog move so fast. So she was on it. So it's pure chaos now as I'm trying to pull said chicken, because chicken bones are not great for dogs and their guts, right?
It'd be one thing if it was just a piece of chicken, but if it was like a leg or something.
So I reefed her mouth open and I'm pulling that out. Meanwhile, she's like trying to lick the crumbs off the floor as I'm holding her. She's going, I'm like, it was chaos with chicken.
Today is Telephone Tuesday. But really, isn't every day kind of a Telephone Tuesday? You.
Me?
Step away from the phone.
But it's ringing.
Hey, put it down. Telephone Tuesday.
Happy Telephone Tuesday day. Maybe if you're on hold for a while, you won't be so happy. But Tuesday, the Tuesday after Labor Day, is supposedly the day businesses get the most phone calls all year.
Partly because everything's open again following the long weekend, but it's also when a lot of people start planning for the holidays. So customer service has to answer your call. They really don't have a choice. But in a recent poll, apparently we, as when we get phone calls on our personal phone, aren't picking up anymore. Only one in 5 people will say they still answer calls from unknown numbers no matter what. And 54% say they never do.
Here's one more leftover stat from that poll. The top reasons we don't answer those calls could be a scammer. I mean, that's far and away got to be number one.
Yeah.
Or it's probably a telemarketer. Even if it isn't a scammer, you feel like you're getting scammed. Whoever it is, you just might feel it's a waste of time or we're just too busy to pick up.
I saw a great post today that said, if my outgoing voicemail message says, you've reached, please don't leave a message. Please text me as I haven't checked my voicemail since 2005.
How things have changed. I mean, you're old enough to have grown up in the era of no call display, right?
Yeah, well, we never had call display.
Same. So, I mean, we would run to the phone. Like, I grew up in a pretty big household with, brothers and a sister. We would all be hauling butt from wherever we were in the house when that phone went off just to try and grab it.
Mm-hmm.
You had no idea who it was. Now it's like, who's calling? You get annoyed. Your phone goes off and your first instinct is, who's calling me? Like your first instinct, and then you look at it.
And then you Google the number if it doesn't come up, right?
If you don't know what the number is.
Yep.
I mean, how many spoof calls are out there now? So they use 519 local numbers.
Yep.
And then suddenly it's somebody trying to scam you out of something, right?
I've just gotten to the habit, unless I'm expecting a call, leave a voicemail and I'll get back to you. Because half the time they usually call when I'm out walking the dog too, or you're in the middle of something, you're at work.
Oh, just text me.
And now it's time for
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's random.
Is that a fact?
4 random facts.
Check this out. The woman who invented windshield wipers in 1903 never made any money from them because car companies told her they would be distracting to drivers and there was no market for them. But after she let the patent expire, they caught on. Wow.
So what did you do before? You just didn't drive if it was raining? Or do you have like a squeegee you put out the window?
I think they did. And they had rags and stuff from old videos I've seen, right? Because the windshields would flip up in the original vehicles way back then, right?
So maybe you flipped them down so that it wouldn't.
Probably. You wore your goggles.
Oh, man. Hey, do you know the country of Andorra in Europe, it's actually illegal there to not own a gun? The country doesn't have a military, so every man between the ages of 21 and 60 is supposed to have a rifle in their house, just in case the country gets attacked.
You know, the first PG movie ever was Red Dawn in 1984. The PG rating was created after Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom got a controversial PG rating 3 months earlier and proved there should be some middle ground between PG and R.
So now you have PG-13. Mm-hmm. And finally, in case you were wondering why wasps seem to be really aggressive right now, well, it's because towards the end of summer, they just get drunk on fermenting fruit hanging from trees, and then they act like real jerks.
Kind of almost like us if we've had a little bit too much fermented fruit.
Today's
1, 2, 3,
4
So random.
Give the public the facts.
4 random facts.
No, Chicago doesn't have a brand new nude beach.
That's despite the fact that an official-looking sign apparently just showed up at this beach along Lake Michigan, which said nude beach past the sign. However, it was just a prank.
Yeah, city officials reported the fake sign and had it removed. It sounds like it was caught pretty quickly, so probably wasn't long enough that it was there for anyone to, drop their drawers and start walking naked along the beach.
No word on who may have put up the sign. Might have been some high school kids who were hiding nearby, or might have been a history buff, because a city official actually said that back in 1932, more than 90 years ago, someone did try to introduce a resolution at city council to create a nude beach at that spot.
Really?
But it didn't happen. It didn't pass.
1932. I can only imagine that people were freaking out about that back in 1930. A nude beach. Like, when they said nude, did they mean like you could show like your legs from your knees down now? Is that what they were talking about back in 1932?
I'm sure I bet there was people back in the day who were all about living that naturalist lifestyle.
In 1932?
Yeah.
Maybe. But then
they would have been real. Like, those are like the early hippies, Dave.
I guess so. But then you had those signs, right, where you had women like standing next to them in bathing suits. And I love these women, right? Because they're just the rebels of the time. In the 20s, where like you weren't supposed to be revealing anything higher than your ankles. And they were like, yeah. And they were standing there beside them. I'm sure they got arrested.
In the bathing costumes, they used to call them, right?
Didn't you used to have a hat, too, for a bathing costume?
Oh, probably.
Like 9 yards, right?
Sleeves on it and stuff. Like, it was like a wetsuit.
But now we've gone full circle. Because now the sun is so intense. Like, how many people have those like UV shirts now? Mm-hmm. Right? We've kind of gone full circle.
Yeah, those are fantastic.
Back to the bathing costumes. Your phone goes off. It's an unknown caller, unknown number. Do you answer the phone?
No, never.
No.
Never.
I really don't either.
The only time I might is if I'm expecting a call from, you're waiting to hear back from making an appointment or test results, that kind of thing. So then I always hate it because then you answer all these unknown numbers and half the time they end up being scammers.
Well, I had that even yesterday. I had one come up. It was a 519 number and I was still half asleep. I just gotten up from my nap and I answered it. And sure enough, it's what it was. And I hung up immediately. Well, there was a time certainly when we always answered the phone because you didn't know. You didn't have caller display.
You talked about that when you were a kid, like racing your siblings to the phone to see who could answer it.
Now we just don't do it as much anymore, but apparently 20% of people still answer calls from unknown numbers.
Yeah, but thanks to telemarketers, robocalls, and scammers, 80% of us don't answer the phone if it's an unknown number. This new poll found that 54% of people never answer calls from unknown numbers, and another 27% say it depends. Like they're expecting a call from someone or from work. You've applied to a job you're waiting to hear back from. So
maybe it comes up as unknown caller and you're not 100% sure. So only 20% say always answer them. 33% of us get one of 5 unknown callers per week. 30% are lucky enough to get less than that. 37% of us get more. So maybe you're signing up for too many things and putting your phone number out there, and now they're on scammer lists.
Well, or somehow your phone number's made its way around the dark web, right? It's been sold off.
Well, lots of negative news surrounding AI, but this maybe is something some people would get on board with. Google just released a new AI tool that can go to work meetings for you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are worried about AI taking their jobs, but what about harnessing AI to help you with your job? So Google's just released this new tool called Duet AI. They've been testing it for a while now, but they've just opened it up to everyone. And it allows the artificial intelligence to attend a virtual meeting on your behalf. You just click attend for me. It'll join the meeting for you. And then it reports back to you any sort of important information you might need to know, and recaps the meeting for you later on.
So if you do ever decide to show up for one again, there's also a take notes feature. So at least you really won't have to pay attention, I guess. Or if you show up late, there's a summary so far tool that tells you what you missed.
I think that's fantastic because a lot of times it's the woman in the room who gets stuck taking notes at a lot of meetings. So this is one way where it's okay, no one has to take notes. The AI is doing it for us.
And just some workplaces, there's so many meetings. That's been the downside, I think. So at first, the pandemic hit. Nobody could be in the same room together, certainly not in a boardroom where everyone's jammed around a table. So we all started doing Zoom meetings, Google meetings, all that kind of stuff. But now I think, in some workplaces, they've thought, oh, well, now we can bring in Susie from Toronto and Jimmy from Sarnia and somebody from the U.S. and we can all be in this meeting. And they hold multiple meetings every single day.
Well, I remember I heard about, I think it was maybe the head of Shopify. He actually ended up outlining meetings because he said he would spend his 9 to 5 just attending meetings. And then he wouldn't get his actual work done or get to do any of his actual work until after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, talk about work-life balance, right? So, your corporate bosses will have to be on board for this for sure. It runs with Google Workspace, so you can just plug it into Zoom, and then away you go. They'll have to subscribe to it. It's $30 a month per person, so it's not cheap.
No, but if you feel like a lot of your employees are losing productivity time to meetings, this could be a good solution.
Maybe a bit of an option, right? A new study actually does show, too, that AI could actually be your new boss in the future. So what would that look like?
Attention employee number 639-18752. Our parking lot camera interface showed you arriving 5 minutes and 17 seconds late. Video footage shows you cramming an Egg McMuffin in your pie hole and inhaling an order of hash browns in your car before entering the building. A photo scan also reveals that you are wearing the same shirt and pants as yesterday. This is unacceptable. I overheard Tracy in accounting talking about your lack of hygiene. Please comply with the company policy or your compensation will be docked accordingly. Now get back to work. Big Brother is watching.
We've got lots of animal stories today about lions, scorpions, snakes, and bees.
Our first story is about a lion, and we're not talking about the Detroit Lions and their season opener tonight. We're talking about a lion that apparently escaped from a car and was on the loose for about an hour in Pakistan. The wildlife department there responded to a number of calls about this lion who was wandering the streets. And there's a video footage that shows it just, checking out some parked cars before they finally caught it. And luckily, it didn't attack anyone. They suspect that someone kept the lion as a pet. But the practice is illegal in residential areas in Pakistan, so the owner could be facing a very hefty fine.
Meanwhile, a woman in Texas, she was just taking a bath, and, she probably had her phone nearby because she was able to get this on video. She saw a scorpion starting to poke its tentacles through the overflow valve. You can listen to her commentary here.
There's a freaking scorpion so big that it can't fit through. Texas living at its finest. They're trying to come in everywhere to get water because it's so dry. Oh my gosh, I dunked my head and now he's got his head stuck. Oh my gosh, it's a scorpion and he's coming out. Just no way he's gonna... Oh my God!
She didn't think it could get out. She thought, no, it's going to go back in the way it came out. Yeah, well, she was wrong. He was able to fit through that tiny crevice.
Well, she's still in the tub at the time. Get out of the tub, woman.
That's what I was thinking.
What are you doing?
Even if you saw his legs poking out, I'd be like, nope,
we're out of here.
Time to leave.
Hey, this would be my worst nightmare. And of course, it's in Australia. A 16-foot python was filmed slithering across a family's roof and into a nearby tree.
They're freaky, aren't they?
Careful.
Lucky.
Wait until his tail just goes boom.
Yeah.
He's going the next one now.
Wow.
It's got muscle.
It's got bones.
Oh, see, I would have thought that would have dropped.
Yeah, same.
Oh, look at him.
It's all one big muscle.
And they're just so calm about it, right? They're just out there eating a burger and they're watching this thing. Parts of the snake, I sent you the video, I think, on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't think I watched the whole thing because I just said, nope, and closed it, went to the next video.
So parts of him were in the tree, while other parts of him, that's how big he was, were still on the roof of the house. That's how big this snake was. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever.
Look, they're another shrimp on the bobby.
It's not in the house, so that's good. And finally, a 50-year-old golf worker in Arizona, scary situation, had to be hospitalized after being stung by nearly 2,000 bees.
We were moving down the fairway. We saw a worker working. He stopped and he started swinging his arms. Didn't pay a lot of attention to it at first. As we went down closer, I started to pick up my ball. All of a sudden the bees started attacking me, so I got my golf cart and started heading back.
By the time he turned around, he was completely covered with bees. He probably had a foot of bees on him.
Wow, what a scary situation. I mean, if you're allergic at all, that could be deadly. And then, of course, here, where we are in Chatham, Kent now, of course, the Yellow Jackets, are starting to get a little angry. And as we learned the other day, it's because they're drunk. They're eating fermented fruits.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what gets them so aggressive this time of year too, right?
And yeah, I wonder, was he trying to remove like a nest or something?
In this case, it sounds maybe like he was trying to remove a bee's nest. That's you got to get the keepers in there with the big suits, get the professionals, call them in. Well, this is some information maybe we should have had earlier in the summer when we really started barbecuing burgers. But if you are planning to maybe throw some burgers on the barbecue this weekend, apparently you should try eating yours upside down, and there's some benefits to it.
So there are 3 main benefits. The first is that the crown or top bun is thicker and sturdier. So it is less likely to droop and let stuff fall out, especially when you have a greasy burger. The bottom bun can already be a little soggy by the time you get to eat it. So they say flipping it over, you get that sturdier bun on the bottom.
The other reason, it exposes your taste buds to more flavors. Flipping it over means the burger's on the top and everything else is underneath if you do it that way. So you'll taste the condiments and toppings more. They say there's a subtle but noticeable difference.
They also say it's easier to pick the burger up when you eat it upside down. So put it on your plate like normal, and it should only be upside down when it's on your hand. So it's like you grab it and then do a little floop. Like a little flip. So if you're eating it right side up, you have to slide your thumb under. But from an ergonomic standpoint, it's actually easier to slide your fingers under with your thumbs on top and then flip it the 180.
It all depends on how much stuff you're putting on there, right? Because I know some people load it up. I mean, your lettuce and your tomato and your pickles and then your other condiments like ketchup and mustard and maybe mayo and whatever else you find in the back of the fridge.
I saw a great post the other day where someone was like, the tomato, as soon as I take a bite of my burger, and it was like stuff falling out of the car, like immediately falling out of the doors.
So maybe that would help prevent it if you do load up your burger that way. I mean, I'm pretty simple. Maybe some lettuce, ketchup, mustard. Do you put it on the top or bottom? Or do you put them all on the one side?
Okay, so I'm pretty strategic when I do my burger. So I take the bottom bun, I put the mustard on the bottom bun, put the burger on top of that, then the cheese, and then the toppings. If there's lettuce, tomato, that's usually about it. Go away onions and pickles. You can go to someone else's plate. Then I put the ketchup on the top bun, put that on top.
I don't really have a plan. It's just whatever I feel like doing. Sometimes it's on top. Sometimes it's on bottom. Sometimes it's a mix and match.
So I might have to rethink this, though, if I'm going to eat my burger upside down now.
You got to figure it all out now. Now you're just turning everybody upside down.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.